Good evening, everybody. It is Sunday evening on Mother's Day. This is Mary with Stamps-N-Lingers, and if you're able to join me live tonight, I sure do appreciate you. I hope you had a great Mother's Day, hopefully with your family and your friends. I just got back here at about 5:45 my time from having dinner with my friends. It was wonderful. My two sons, they're not my sons, but let's just say I'm an honorary mother, which makes them my honorary kids, and I'm glad to have them. We had dinner with them. So that was very, very pleasant. Hi, Mary. How are you tonight? Good to see you. I hope you had a wonderful day today. Hey, Donna. How are you? We'll give it a second. I've got 10 folks looking like they're showing up. So we'll give them a second to get their comments in, and I can say hi. Hi, Jean. Hi, Barbara. Nice of you to join me tonight. I appreciate it. You're probably getting a little peek of what our card is going to be today, apparently. Hey, Robbie. Glad to see you. All right. I don't know about you guys where you are, but it is hot here. And it's way too early for it to be this hot, to be quite honest. I know my little dog is an unhappy camper. Hi, Jean. Glad to see you. Oh, man, eating some ice cream. Hey. Glad to have you on. Hey, Shirley. How are you? Hi, Pam. Hi, Ellie. Good of you to join me tonight. You're welcome for the catalog, by the way. I hope everybody who is a customer has received theirs. And if not, boy, it ought to be there anytime. If you don't get a catalog and you think you should have, give me a shout and we'll make sure that you were on my list. Hey, Donnie, you are correct. We skipped spring. We went straight into hot summer, and it's not very pleasant. Hi, Jamie. Thank you for joining tonight. I appreciate it. All right, we're going to get started. I have a hard stop time at 8 o'clock tonight. We are going to make what is apparently all the rage these days. It's called an impossible card. Let me get my fingers in here. An impossible card. It's not very impossible. I watched a couple of videos. I watched Maymay's video and I watched Jan Brown and pulled a little bit from both of those. So, hang on a second. We're having a cat fight. Wait one. Finn, leave it. They're just doing their cat thing. Okay. He doesn't like it when they fight. Anyway, what Maymay said is that this apparently comes from some kind of a card trick where you can make this odd folded shape without what it looks like cutting anything. Of course, we're going to cut something, and I'm going to show you how. It isn't very difficult. I used the new Garden Impressions DSP, which is truly one of my favorite. And you can see a new color here for me, Mango Madness. Isn't that pretty? I love that color. It makes me want to eat a mango right now, or drink a mango Orange Julius. That sounds good, doesn't it? Hey, Karen. Glad you have 5 pages of wish list. Thank you, Linda. I hope that is true. I hope that is true. Robbie, 80s and 8%. Oh, man, don't be. That's just mean. That's just mean. But I'm glad you're having good weather for this day. I hope you enjoyed it. All right. Yes, these are, as you say, Mary, these are everywhere. Hi, Karen. So this one is actually relatively plainly decorated. To be quite honest, I wanted to get the idea down in my head before I went crazy, but you really can. You can see this is perfectly sized to fit inside a normal medium-sized envelope. And what I learned from Maymay's video is kind of the formula, if you will, to figure out how to make this with any size card, or to even make it in a portrait orientation. So I'll probably try that, but for now, I was trying to keep it a little simple for my simple brain so that I could have half a shot of showing you how to make it. All right, so you can see that's all it is. It's just folds flat, and then when your recipient opens it, they may have to stand it up a little bit, but the way the card is devised, it stands up kind of automatically all by itself. All right. And to go with it, I used the new host set called Springtime Stroll. I think it's very, very cute, and it's got lovely little sentiments. Now, don't be fooled when you buy this. If you can look, you can see that these are solid, but they're not. They've got dots in them on purpose. So I actually stamped mine 3 or 4 times trying to make it right, and it turns out all of the letters are supposed to have little tiny dots in them. So just let it happen. That's what needs to happen. And actually, in fact, and you really can't see it probably, but every solid image line has dots in it. So it's a little more of a watercolory effect, if you will. So it's cute, and we're going to play with it. I am, however, going to use different paper just because I can, because I got a bunch of them. So let's go ahead and set this aside. Now what we're using is simply a different design in the Garden Impressions. Hey Pam, thank you for joining. Hi Denise. Hi Carolyn from British Columbia, Canada. Hey, thank you. Kind of distressed, Karen, but not really, just kind of like washed, if you will. Like it's got texture to it. It's got some movement and texture, and I actually like it a lot, but once I realized that I was looking at I like it a lot better. So anyway, this is the design that we're going to use for our mats, and we're going to use the backside for a little fussy cut butterfly. And we've got our card base, which is Melon Mambo. And then I've got some other little pieces and parts that we're going to use to mat our 2 sentiments. And I will put these directions on my blog for tomorrow. I will tell you, however, I'm not going to do a whole bunch of text instructions, because this is really something that's a lot easier to show than to speak, if you will. Okay, so let us set this aside, and we're going to start. I'm going to show you how to make the template. All right, so what I learned from May's video is the formula. And I'm going to pull out my score board, my Simply Scored. And if you see, what I have here is a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inch piece of scrap cardstock. Hi Sue. Hi Amy, glad you could make it. I appreciate that. And you make your first 2. I like to do a score line that I learned from Jan Brown's website. The score line, if you look real close, you can actually kind of see them outside the mat, but it isn't very noticeable, and it does make it a lot easier to get a good line, and I like a little stronger crease, so I have opted to use a score line when I go to my cardstock. So what you do is you start by making a score line halfway down the short side. So this is 4 1/4. So our first score line is at 2 1/8. If you were doing a 5 by 7 card and this was 5 inches, your first score line would be at 2 1/2 to make a landscape card. Make sense? So your first line is half of the width on the short side. Then you rotate it, put it back up in the corner, and you do half again on the long side. So in this case, we have 5 1/2. So half is 2 3/4. All right. So that is what I have already scored. This is going to be my demo card here, so that you can see it, and then we'll run through right quick on the actual card. And then you can make these legs here, kind of any size that you wanted. Okay. In this instance, I have gone with 1 1/4, and all I did was mark 1 1/4 and make straight lines to the score line. All right. Now for my template, I'm going to go ahead and cut this with scissors, and you can do this on your regular cardstock if you're real good. I'm not that great, but we're going to do this for this. So you cut each score line to the long horizontal score, okay? And in this case, it's right in the center of the score, because that is exactly 2 3/4 inches from the edge, okay? And the same here. Okay. Now, what May did, and it was kind of good, if you think you might want to make a bunch of these, take a look at May's video, and I'll put it on my blog tomorrow. What she ends up doing is she ends up cutting out the line. So she uses a Sharpie to make her line, and then she cuts on either side of the Sharpie and cuts that cardstock out. Then anytime she wants to make one of this size impossible card, she can just put it against her cardstock or her DSP, draw a faint line with a pencil and then cut it out, and she's ready to rock. So she's not doing this every time. I haven't done that because I just don't know what we're, oh, okay, the score's on the bottom. So this is 1 1/4 in and 1 1/4 in. So the legs are 1 1/4 inches wide. And again, what I'm gonna do is I will put this, I'll put this template on, a picture of the template on my website tomorrow with the measurements marked in, okay? All right, so now I'm gonna show you how we do the twist and the shout. Okay, so what I've done, and hope everybody just pray that I can make this happen again, okay? So all I'm doing is I'm holding it in the 2 center scores the long way, and I'm gonna take this hand and twist like that, okay? And I'm going to make sure that this lines up correctly and give a little rub, okay? And then I'm going to take it and go the other way, like that. And there we have an impossible card that is obviously pretty darn possible, right? So you can see it stands up all by itself. This is kind of obviously the back because of, you know, it's laying backwards like this, and this allows you to see what you got, okay? This one in this case turned out to be that way. So there you go. All right. Okay, so now let's do that again, but on real live cardstock, okay? So I've got my piece of Melon Mambo, and I'm gonna get my scoreboard out. I can't start over, Shirley. We got a meeting. All right, so this is a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 again, regular card base size piece of cardstock. And the first thing I'm going to do is make my score line at 2 1/8. Okay, so that's halfway the distance, 2 1/8, just like that. All right. All right, and then I'm going to turn it. And I'm gonna go halfway again, which is 2 3/4, because this is 5 1/2, so 2 3/4. And you're just gonna score to that first horizontal line that you just made, okay? Now, turn it upside down. So here was where you made your first score line. Turn it upside down like this, okay? And I'm gonna come in 1 1/4 from this end, so 1 1/4, and I'm just gonna faintly score it so that I can see it, okay? Actually, I'm just gonna do it regular and then we'll cut it. And then I'm gonna come 1 1/4 from this side, like that. All right? And then I am done for a moment with Mr. Simply Scored. All right. Now, I'm gonna use my scissors again, just because it's easier. And I'm just cutting the score lines right in the middle, right to that middle long score line, okay? Do try to make your cuts as straight as you can do. And get all the way to the score line. All right. See? Like so. And then hold at the middle and take your right hand and twist. So you can see that having the score line there makes that much easier, right? So we'll just make sure this is all lined up right there. And then we're gonna go the other direction and make sure it's lined up. And this is kind of a card that's kind of like squaring a building. If you've ever built a building, it's kind of like squaring a building. Sometimes you just gotta push it where it needs to go. Because you know what these measurements are, right? Because you know, it's 5 1/2 by 4 1/4. So you just kind of want to get it pushed around a little bit till it is square again. Okay, so there is our card base. Easy peasy, right? Will it still work if yes, it will absolutely still work if you make the legs a different size. So you can change that up however you want. You're just going to have to adjust the sizes of the DSP that I'm going to give you. Okay, so to me, 1.25 inches looked right. It had a good symmetry to it, so that was kind of why I chose 1.25 inches. Okay, now I'm going to set that aside. And for me, the actual hardest part of making this was getting the mats together. All right, I will tell you, for your first 10 or 12 of these, I would recommend using a non-directional DSP. Okay, so like to me, this side has a direction. I would want both of my mats to go this way, and that becomes a math problem for me. Okay, so I used this side because it didn't matter to me. All right. So I made a template out of another piece of cardstock. You can see that this is this piece right here. Well, it's this piece right here. It'll be this way. Okay? Like that. And what we're going to do is cut this portion of it out, and I will put this template on the website tomorrow. Okay, so that you can see a picture of it with the directions. Hey, Barbara. All right, so all I'm doing, you can see, I have made score lines at 1 1/8 inch in from one of the short sides and 2 inches from the top. Okay, just like that. So now all I'm going to do is cut out this part that cleverly says, cut out. Easy. Like this. Remember, I'm making a template here. And because I'm using non-direction specific DSP, this template will work for both pieces, right? All right, so we'll start with, we'll make, let me see what I need to do. Here we go. What I'm doing is just laying this over the top of my piece of cardstock. This right here, or DSP, this is 2 5/8 by 4 1/8 inches. I'm laying my template right over the top, like that. Making sure all the edges are lined up. And then I'm just going to take a pencil and very lightly make a cut line. Okay? Like that. Now you can do one of two things. You can use your scissors. Hey Brooke, thank you for joining. Yeah, you could do that, but you won't have the handy little edge, right? You know what else? Well, I won't tell you that. Okay. So anyway, all I'm going to do here is I'm lining up my pencil mark in my cut groove, and that goes up to 2 inches, so I'm just going to cut to 2 inches, and then I'm going to turn and line up. And bring it down to, well, she says she's going to 1.5 inches. There we go. Okay. And so there is mat number 1. It's going to go just like that. All right. And then we're going to make the second one. Same size piece of paper. And we'll, it helps my brain if I line things up the way it needs to be so that I can make sure I'm doing it right. Because I can do it wrong in like about a heartbeat. In about a heartbeat, people. Won't take me a second. Make my little lines. And we'll cut this one with the scissors because you can also do that as well. Oh, you guys might be interested to know that my two boys, that they came over today and met Wilbur. And the consensus seems to be he is not a wild pig. Doesn't look like a wild pig, act like a wild pig, move like a wild pig, or be as scared as a wild pig ought to be. So we are all in the agreement area that he is a domesticated pig. Okay? All right, Amy, thank you for joining. I appreciate it. I don't know what the question was from Sue, but okay. So now all I'm going to do is I'm going to take some liquid glue and I'm going to adherate this paper to my bases. My bases right here, my bases. I'm just going to use a little liquid glue. And get it put on. And then we can decorate it right quick like a bunny. And we'll be done. So not very impossible, really. I can assure you that if I can figure this out, you can figure it out. I promise. All right. Now, May did something that was kind of fun. She took her corner rounder and she rounded each corner of this and showed a version like that. And that was kind of cool, too. All right. And, you know, if you don't like your first one, make another one. Because it's just not that hard. It's just paper. I'm seeing some things I don't love about this one already, which is okay. We're seeing the concept. It's a concept lesson. Just kind of have to make it work and fit. All right, there we go. All right. So our next thing is we have 2 sentiment panels that we're going to make. And I'm going to use, yes, the corner rounder did look nice. I liked it. What we're going to do here is I have some pieces of Whisper White and a mat with the same Garden Impressions DSP, and then another mat with the same, well, I don't need another mat. We'll just leave that mat off. For this one, I have a mat then for our center strip, like this. And I'm going to use the retiring Stamp-A-Majig. If you guys don't have a Stamp-A-Majig, please get it before it's gone. Please, please, I beg of you, please. I beg of you, please. Yes, I'm giving you a template and the measurements, so you should be good to go. That is correct. Okay, let me get these out while I've got it here. I'll put this back away. All right, we're going to start with You Are Amazing, and that goes on the larger of the sentiments. I'm using Shaded Spruce, one of my favorite new colors, and it is the green that coordinates with this. And we're going to set up our Stamp-A-Majig here. Except the plastic part, the guide part has disappeared. It went away. Hang on a second. There it is. It's hiding over here as if it doesn't want to be played with. Did y'all do something cool for Mother's Day, I hope? We went and had a steak. It was very nice. My friend's father takes us all to dinner, and I have become an honorary member of the family as an honorary mother of the boys, I suppose. So he always buys my dinner, which is very sweet of him. Very sweet of him. He is a very sweet man. They are a very good family. Okay, so we're just going to put that in here, kind of straight. Kind of straight. Straight is more better than not straight, except for when you want not straight, and then straight is less better. Okay, pick that up carefully. Ink, ink, ink. Do I stamp the slick side or the rough side? I stamped the slick side. I'm sure, I know I read somewhere which one you're supposed to do, but that was on the directions, and I guess I've taken a turn from my husband and decided that, oh, I'm not reading directions again. So I think you're supposed to stamp the slick side with one kind of stamp and the rough side with the other, maybe the rough side on the photopolymer. I'm not really sure. Not really sure, Paula. All right, now I'm gonna take my little flower, and I'm going to do some, oh, the rough side is for stays on. Cut the DSP in 2 pieces. Seem to work either way, but you have an edge of cardstock point. Yep, you could do that as well. You could have, you certainly could. You could have a piece here and a piece here and a piece here and a piece here. And that might be kind of fun, actually. You could do this piece and this piece as the same DSP, and this one is the same DSP. I mean, that might be kind of fun, like that. See how it goes? Now, May, when she made hers, she actually used the DSP as the card base and then put a cardstock mat on it. So kind of did it different. What does that tell you? It tells you you can do all sorts of things with this particular card, and it's still going to be great. All right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the marker to rubber technique here, and I'm going to use Melon Mambo for the outline of the flower, and Petal Pink for the center, and then some shaded spruce for the stem and the flower. And don't forget when you do this to give the stamp a little huff to moisten up that ink again. And I'm just going to, it really isn't, this one isn't rocket science, so I'm just doing that, and I'm going to do it a couple of times real quick. Actually, I'm going to do it 3 times, so technically that's a few times, not a couple of times. All right. Oh man. Now, Sharon, Robbie, that sounds so good, I can't even believe it. Oh, that sounds awesomely wonderful. Did I already color this? No. All right, so we're just doing this a couple of 3 times across the bottom of my little hoo-ha there. The dog is licking my elbow. Don't lick my elbow. I can't stamp if you're licking my elbow. All right, and I think 1 more, because 3 is always better than 2. It's interesting, this stamp, it actually looks like it's rough, and I think that's the little tiny indents for those little dots. So when you get this stamp set, if you get it, remember this is a host set, so you have to buy it with Stampin' Rewards. Okay, so there's that, and I'm just gonna touch up my centers a little bit. Like so. And then I'm going to take my little butterfly, come fly with me. And he is going to be, because I'm going to go rogue, I'm going to use Blueberry Bushel again. All right, Robbie, if I come to Arizona, I expect shaded spruce is definitely not like Tranquil Tide. It's more like a green with some blue in it. It's like it's very nice. All right, Blueberry Bushel. What I'm going to do is I'm taking this butterfly from the Springtime Stroll, and I'm stamping it right up here in the corner like that. And you're going to see what I'm going to do here in just a second. While I've got this out, I'm going to take another little piece of this paper, and I'm going to stamp another butterfly on there. Just like that. Okay? I'm going to show you what I'm going to do with that here in just a second. Oh, cool. Good job, Karen. All right, so what I'm going to do is, first off, I'm going to mat this. Yes, I'm going to mat this on the piece of DSP that I just stamped my butterfly on, so I'll do him again. It's one of those days, people. Robbie, I'm going to come to Arizona any day now, and I'm going to come and eat chili verde. I don't care how hot it ends up being when I get there. I'm eating it Finn, come here, bud. Leave the kitties be. They're not doing anything to you. He doesn't like them fussing at each other, and they were fussing at each other. Okay, so now I'm just going to use a little bit of, a little more glue and put this on my centerpiece of my card. Okay. Like so. Okay. Now, let me redo that butterfly, since I didn't do a very good job stamping him on anything I could cut. And this is just the back side of the DSP that I used. And now all I'm going to do is I'm just going to fussy cut his wings, because his little antennae are already on the cardstock that I stamped. Like this. Okay, so it's pretty easy. Antenna would be hard. Wings is easy. Easy and peasy and nice and breezy. Okay. I'm not talking because all of a sudden I feel a terrible need to concentrate fully on this fussy cut. Like it's gonna go awry here in just a second. There we go. Just like this. It's kind of going awry a little bit, but not very much. It'll be okay. You ever have days where your fingers just feel like big fat sausages? Okay, now that's cut out, and so what I'm gonna do is I'm just kind of bending him up in the middle a little bit, and I am going to take an artisan pearl who is sitting right in front of me. Where's my butterfly? Where did he go? Do you guys see him? There he is. Okay. And let's see, I think we're going to use this petal pink pearl, and I'm just sticking one petal pink pearl right in the middle of his body, like that. And then I'm going to take a glue dot and adhere him over my antenna is impossible. Yes, that is a true thing. That is a true thing. Now I'm just taking a little glue dot and I'm putting it on the back of my little flutterby. And then I'm going to put him right over the top of my stamped butterfly. And you get a little dimension, and you get some antenna, and you have a cute little flutterby, right? Alrighty. Now, let's make the last sentiment, and we will be done ya. We'll be done ya. I say to you, we'll be done ya. Clean this off a little bit. And use our thanks for everything. Once again, we'll set up our Stamp-A-Magic so that I can stamp my strip of Whisper White. Okay. And I'm just going to go right in the middle of my strip, straight as I can make it, with my finely calibrated eyeball that is almost always crooked. Okay. That didn't work. Did you see that? Do you see what happened there? Mm-hmm. Static got me, kids. The static got me. Right there. The static got me. Okay. I'll get a little corner of the piece there now. Okay. Now, here we go. And again, this is shaded spruce. Yeah, the chamois are great. And what's cool about them is they're huge, so you can just cut it and use a little piece and just keep wetting it. I really love it quite a bit. Thank you to Miss Amy for recommending that. All right, so there's our second Sentimente. And then we're going to go ahead and double matte this on a piece of DSP and some Melon Mambo. Now, what I was telling you, if you've ever built a house and built a wall, the wall starts out on the ground, and it starts out with 4 pieces like that, and then you start putting in the cross pieces, and while you're doing that, you have to square it, so you kind of pull it, because until you get those cross pieces, till you get these in, it's just it's willy wonky. You can make it, it can end up like that, it can end up like that. So you pull it together till these are square, right? And then you put in the braces. I tell you that because that's what we're fixing to do. And we're going to use this sentiment to square our card up and make sure it's square. Because if it's not square, one, it's going to look goofy, and second, it's not going to fit in our card, in our envelope as good. Now, once you guys have kind of got the basics on this, you can make and decorate this however you like. It's the world is wide open. What you want to do is try to keep your decorations inside the dimensions of the card base, because this is the same as a card base. So if you start getting, you know, too wild and crazy and going outside the lines, as it were, outside the main card base, then you aren't going to fit in your envelope again, right? All right, let's get this set aside. What I think is kind of fun is, do you notice that this is backwards? It turned out different this time. Cool, huh? I think that's kind of fun. It's just kind of a fun little fold, really. Amy, yes, we said totally wonderful things about you while you were gone. Totally wonderful. All right, so in order to square our wall here, I'm using my grid paper. Make sure I'm in the marks here so you can see. And I'm lining one side up. And you can see that it's wonky, right? But I'm fixing to pull it down with its bridge. So that's where it wants to be, because that's 5.5 across there. So here's how I did this. I put liquid glue on one side of my banner, and I put him on where I wanted him. Make sure this side is lined up and square. I'm using my grid, okay? And then I'm gonna put a little bit of glue on the card base there, and I'm pulling him down so he's square, like that. See how he's square? And now all of a sudden he's become a he again. I don't know why. And then I'm pushing down so that the glue will stick. All right? And I'm waiting a beat for everything to hold up. And there we go. Now I'm going to take one more of my little petal pink. I'm going to put him over here, like that. And there's the card done. Fun, huh? Cute. I'm probably going to make a few more of these because I want to try some different decorations and some different stamp sets and whatnot. I think it's kind of fun. Let's go ahead and finish up the envelope because that's what we do. No naked envelopes here, people. No naked envelopes. All right. Thank you, Karen. All right, here we go. We're going to just do a few more of the little flowers across the front. Color in the edges Melon Mambo. And we'll just keep these open. Stem and leaf is shaded spruce. And petal pink for the center. Oh, I have a rogue glue dot. Rogue glue dot. Glue dot on the loose. Huff and stamp. Ink. Oh, get it all over your fingers. That's how you know you're a professional. Huff. stamp. And one more. Una más. See, Robbie's got me thinking Mexican food, so now I'm talking in Mexican food. Green chili verde. Man, that sounds good. I haven't had that in forever. You know what I used to love? Is green chili machaca with beef, and it was so hot it would just about, oh, it was so good. Okay, and then I'll put another one down here like that. And then I'm gonna put my lids back on. I'm gonna add one butterfly in blueberry bushel. Hey, Kim. Hopefully if you can go back, or if you've been able to watch the whole time, you'll see how to do it. The directions won't be so much on my blog as the measurements and the template pictures. It's a little hard to explain it in words. We had to do a thing when I was in academic instructor school. We had an exercise they had to do as we were attempting to develop lesson plans and to learn how to teach. They said, we want you to, we had to get into pairs. And they said, you're gonna make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And you just have to talk everybody through the steps of making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And to a person, we forgot what? What do you think we all forgot to tell our person to do? Yeah, you're right. If you guessed open the bag of bread, you were right. We all forgot to tell them to open the bag of bread. So that was really hard to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich without taking bread out. And so you saw what I did there is just put a little line of liquid glue around the envelope flap and rub it on a little bit with the pretty DSP. This is not the prettiest DSP, y'all. I just love it. Just love it. And I did not think I would, because this is not my wheelhouse kind of paper at all. Nature's Poem is my wheelhouse, right? Nice organic colors, vintagey, woodsy. So when I saw this was on the pre-order, I was like, okay, I'm gonna get it because I got everything, but I wasn't gonna love it. But good Lord, I love it. All right, so what I have shown you now, we have two different cards, same exact DSP stack, same exact stamp set, and yet they look completely different. What do you think? I hope you like that. We had to write all the directions for brushing your teeth. Exactly, see? That's what I'm talking about. So that's why you won't see written instructions on this. Much easier to show you how to do it. So anyway, I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you won't think this is an impossible card, because trust me, if I did it, it ain't impossible by any stretch of the imagination. All right? All right. I appreciate the time that you have spent with me here tonight, and I hope I will see you next Sunday. Y'all have a wondrous, wondrous week. Thanks. Bye.